Hello my beautiful hammerhead and welcome back to another video. This is another take of From the Aetheric Void, where I'm gonna tell you something about the mortal realms in Age of Sigmar to make the whole setting a little bit more real, a little bit more tangible. I wanted to talk about the cogforts of the cities of Sigmar, but that video was just about 200 seconds long, so I expanded it to the Ironweld arsenal. You have heard of it, you might know what they are, but please bear with me, because in this video I want to tell you first of all what they are building as in their products and how they do what they do. As they are almost exclusively in the production, supply, defense and expanding efforts of the cities of Sigmar, they are working with and for the free guilds of the dispossessed. Defending the cities while installing great cannons, building cogforts, gyrocopters, steam tanks and all sorts of tools of destruction. But weaponry, of course, is not the only thing they are producing. Sometimes projects take generations of a regular human life cycle, but contracts are accepted and fulfilled with the intent of taking back the lands that were stolen by the forces of chaos, and they're building upon the shoulders of their predecessors. The Ironweld arsenal does not only, as I've said, take part in the defense of the cities, but they play a crucial part in the Dawnbringer Crusades as well. Armored transports are built and prepared, reaching the destinations of the crusade, and it is the engineers of the Ironweld that are preparing the foundation of the new cities and constructing the walls needed for hearth and home. These machines of industry and war are built in the workshops. Like everything in the mortal realms, these workshops are not the ones we might know from our regular human lives. A blacksmith might work on a regular sword, armor and so on. But their work also extends into a variety of useful tools and machines. Cogforts, great cannons, gyrocopters, swords, armor, black powder / fingerbite powder, weapons are the main output. But things like lightning batteries. Yes, I hear your thoughts, that is exactly what the name says. It is a battery charged with lightning. And they are being used in experiments for new forms of locomotion. Realm Shredder Dynamite is not only one of the most awesome names ever, but used as rune-inscribed explosives to, well, vaporize rocks and other obstacles in the way of the Crusades and, you know, the enemies of Sigmar. Wheelchairs are also a staple of the Ironweld. They are a common sight in the cities of Sigmar, but again, not as you might picture them, as the Ironweld is adaptable to every need in every realm. In Gairan, the chairs are woven out of living vines. In Akshi, they are probably flame resistant and more sturdy. And like the cogforts, not restricted to wheels, but also with optional piston-driven legs. The things we see the most of are, of course, the machines of war. Hellstorm rocket batteries, hellblasters, gyrocopters and gyrobombers, steam tanks, and yeah, well, the gyrocopter and bomber are of course not as advanced as the Caradron machinery, but without the use of the Skyduardin's ether gold. That is the extent of the capabilities of the Ironweld. But the respect the pilots of the steam-powered gyro machinery that they are gathering is without a doubt greater than anyone could imagine. More rare are the automata, used as an example as guards for factories or warehouses and or bodyguards. They vary in their form and appearance like their creator's taste for aesthetics and or functionality. Lumineth automata are geometrically perfect. Ironweld automata resemble more like steam-belching beasts. Only again, the Caradron surpassed everyone in quantity and quality due to their use of ether gold. The majority of automata are used for carrying goods, so in patrols between cities, and are only capable of recognizing their owner and basic orders. So you might say Ether Gold is also being used by the Ironweld, but their knowledge and their craft to really use Ether Gold is again not as good as the Caradron ones. At last, I want to tell you a little bit more about the gargantuan cogforts before I delve a little bit more into the society of the Ironweld arsenal. Cogforts are massive. They are heavily armed walking castles, used for, again, carrying goods and protecting convoys, or as defensive equipment for the cities of Sigmar. They take about 8 years to build and are crewed by up to 18 free guilders and or dispossessed. Like the automatas, they vary in design, but all of them are equal in their deadliness. Every city in every realm builds their own unique cogforts, as they are not only vision-made manifest by the cogsmiths, but also built to withstand the unique properties of their surroundings. Hammerhal Aksha uses them as one of their primary defensive lines. Every cogfort houses a lightning shield generator, which is able to connect itself to other, you guessed it, lightning shield generators to create, also again, you guessed it, a bigger lightning shield. So every time Hammerhal Aksha is in the process of expanding, this tactic is deployed again and again. So lightning shield, move a little bit forward, build a new wall, move a little bit forward, build a new wall, rinse and repeat. Sadly, the cogforts, as mighty as they are being used to show how cunning or powerful someone is, as the cruel boys captured one and are using it for whatever nefarious deeds they have. Morathi destroyed one in her plans to sack the former city of Anvilgard, now known as Hakuron, and in the latest Dawnbringer Crusade, venturing out of Hammerhal Aksha, 2 cogforts were destroyed by the Gloomspite Gits and Truk, the Troggoth King. And many more. So with that in mind, when do we get the model? But I think that is enough of their products. Let's talk a little bit more about the Ironweld as a subfaction of society and how they do things they do. The engineers of the Ironweld arsenal are known as the masters of strange machinery and devastating weapons. They are made up of humans and Duardin, not only working together but also learning from each other. Ironweld agents are also known for their travels and expeditions to unknown parts of the mortal realms to study new materials or in the search for their Duardin ancestral homes. They are literally the cogs of industry. Like the Caradron overlords, the Ironweld arsenal has innumerable and vast factories all over the mortal realms. For them, there is always an internal debate between mass-produced articles or slow but fantastic craftsmanship in artisanal work. The ongoing war against the forces of chaos, death, and destruction is a sad reality for the former. But some things like the swords, hammers, shields, and black powder weapons are in high demand. And like I told you in my Aqua Gyranis video, the irrigation systems are also mass-produced and highly maintained equipment, as there is a dire need to cleanse the realms and, of course, grow crops. The majority of the workers spend their lives only on one station, hammering or welding a single piece of the greater constructs. But again, there are artisans who build their own workshops and craft things from start to finish, and many customers go out of their way to buy those products as they have a soul to them. And of course, passion, and they are not mass-produced junk, as harsh as that sounds. Even in the mass production of the Ironweld, however, there is, as I mentioned before, adaptability. Even though adaptability means something else to every person, as long as they can make a gun out of it that at least is a cocksmith saying. In Gairan, as an example, the production of, let's just call it, weed killers is one of the adaptations they have to use to combat the fast-growing plant life so the cities don't get overgrown. In Gur, Duarden labor clans are raising walls strong enough to resist the wild aurochs. Engineers are laying the foundations in the shape of the 12-pointed star in honor of Sigmar. In Akshi, the irrigation systems are made with more heat-resistant materials and constructions are made that look suspiciously like giant rodent traps. In Shaiish, silver-tipped bullets are blessed and amulets are made to ward off the undead. In Ulgu, of course, nothing is what it looks like. Materials look like another one. Illusions are being weaved into the product to make them look like they came from another realm to hide their true purpose. But also, surprisingly, innocent exports like costumes that change appearance for theaters, trick swords and smoke bombs. But how is all of this possible? Because first of all, fuel, as an example, is not a regular resource, but the vast forges need heat to melt, well, the iron and steel. It was the famous architect Valius Meliti who has apparently built Realmstone into the foundations of many cities of Sigmar, powering the forges and warding the cities from corruption. Some concerned voices were against this, but they were quickly hushed out. Now you might say, Realmstone and the foundations, isn't that dangerous? Isn't the Realmstone of Akshi that's being used, well, flammable and explosive? And I say you're absolutely right. You heard me say fingerbite powder instead of black powder in a couple of videos and in this one earlier, because Emberstone, the Akshian Realmstone, is one of the main ingredients for the volatile powder. And also, Valius Meliti, in truth, is none other than the changeling of Tzeentch, who follows his own mischievous plans. Other resources, however, are collected the regular way. No one is faster in mining for precious metals and minerals or harvesting wood from the forests than the Duarden of the Dispossessed. And there is always the question, how can they do more? Because all of this might sound like the products of the Ironweld are everywhere in great numbers in the realms, but still it is a rare sight to see the machines of war. And who leads the Ironweld arsenal? As far as we know right now, every city has its own hierarchy. In Greywater Fastness, as an example, it is called the Council of the Forge. Only the richest and most successful engineers are part of that council. This might, of course, differ from city to city. In some cities, groups of cogsmith captains and forge lords might lead the Ironweld arsenal together with the collegiate arcane and sometimes the Stormcast Eternals, Lord Ordinators and Castellans. These councils are responsible for the direction the local Ironweld will focus their efforts on. So most of the time it's money, war and, well, honor or stuff like that. Before we end this, there is one more thing I want to talk about, and this is something that is dear to my heart and just a small fun fact. As you might have guessed, not every engineer, worker, captain or lord in the Ironweld might worship Sigmar, Alariel or Teclis Centurion. It is to no big surprise that the Duarden ancestor god Grungni, the Forge god, is being worshipped. His influence in the cities of Sigmar is countless. Not only did he help in the creation of the Stormcast Eternals and the Anvil of Apotheosis, Grungni showed everyone the art of metalworking and how to craft magical artifacts. Grungni's appearance might surprise you, as he is the size of an ogre, but with a slightly hunched back. His eyes burn with the fires of his forge. His beard and hair is as white as the smoke that leaves his maker's forge, and his presence is accompanied by the sound of ringing hammers. But yeah, That's it, a nice and sweet video about the Ironweld arsenal and a little bit on what they do and why they do it. So if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. I am keen to know what you have to say. And while you're down there, please remember to do all the YouTube stuff, because hitting buttons is not only fun. Why? Because that way we can talk. Sorry, I completely botched this. We can build a bigger community and talk more Warhammer almost every day. But until then, have a great day, my friend. Stay fantastic, stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next video. If you like and subscribe. I totally botched the outro. I'm sorry. Bye. 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 I can't find the stop button.